Well, good afternoon and welcome to San Angelo Live. We're back at the political desk. It's Wednesday, and I'm talking to candidates running for office in the very soon upcoming primary election. And with me today is Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1 in Tom Green County, Susan Werner. Excuse me. Susan, I'm glad you're here. Let's talk about who you are.
Okay. And again, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I am Susan Werner, and I am the current Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1. I was not born and raised here in Tom Green County. I was born in Pearsall, Texas, and then I was raised in a little small town, West Texas, called Grand Falls, Texas, and that is south of Monahans. I married Stanley Werner in 2012.
Okay.
And he was born and raised in Tom Green County and Runnels County area. We farm in the northeast part of Tom Green County. I have 3 adult children, 2 boys, 1 girl. My 2 boys live here in San Angelo. My daughter lives in Austin, and she's a pastry chef there.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
have a 10-year-old granddaughter, a 22-month-old granddaughter, and expecting my 3rd grandchild in September.
Okay. And I was going to say just about everybody in Moretta knows who you are, and now we're introducing you to the rest of Precinct 1. Justice of the Peace, let's talk about that. You've been a Justice of the Peace for how long?
I'm in my 6th year.
Okay. So this will be your 2nd full election term.
Yes.
And the Office of Justice of the Peace has changed even over that 6-year period. A lot of folks know that you you're the People's Court. There's 4 Justice of the Peace offices in each county in Texas for the most part, and you each have a quadrant. And Precinct 1 is that northeast quadrant of Tom
yes.
Green County, and the very best Moretta and
Harriet,
and portions of the city of San Angelo in there as well.
Yes.
A big portion of the city. So, and you do small claims, and we were talking about that earlier. Now, small claims is $20,000.
$20,000. To me, that's not small claims, but
That's a lot. And
yes.
what else, like evictions and private disputes?
We do a lot of debt claims, which is credit card type hearings.
Okay.
The small claims, as you mentioned. Evictions, we have a lot of evictions going on. And we also do administrative hearings, which is very wide variety. It could be anywhere from illegal tow hearings, dangerous dog hearings, driver's license suspension hearings,
Just everything.
stolen property.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's a civil aspect to it, and then a misdemeanor, criminal
Yes.
aspect as well.
Yes.
So you have a full docket, just like every other judge in Tom Green County.
Correct.
Okay. And the 4 of you trade off, sort of. You stand in on call because you also do, you pronounce people.
Yes, we do take turns being on call. We still cover our own courts all the time, but we take turns the on-call schedule, and usually it's just 1 week out of the month, and
Okay.
we're on call 24/7. And yes, we do inquest into deaths. We do emergency detentions if someone is, for example, suicidal or maybe a threat to someone else, having a mental issue, then we can get them help. We do any kind of, if somebody needs to be arrested, we will do those warrants, search warrants, things like that while we're on call.
And you also do jury trials.
Yes.
And these are smaller juries than what people normally see on TV.
Yes, we panel 6 jurors
Okay.
instead of 12. And we call from not just our precinct. A lot of people think we just call from our precinct, but because of the fact that our precincts, pull in that many people at a time, we do countywide pretty much.
Okay. And that's pretty much the job. Your office is downtown in the Brown Justice Center. There used to be the old jail.
Yes.
So you're right there across from the courthouse, and what else is there? I mean, we were talking earlier about remodeling your office a little bit.
Yes, we're trying to maybe make it just a little more person-friendly,
User-friendly.
Right now, my office has 2 small windows where the clerks help people and talk through the little windows, but they're so close together that they can't take care of 2 people at the same time. So we're hoping to, when they remodel some other areas of the jail, the old jail, that maybe we can expand my window to give them a lot more space. And we just want one big window so it looks more open and more friendly.
More user-friendly,
Yes.
okay. We talked about the pandemic some earlier before we became live, and that's changed. Have y'all done Zoom meetings and that sort of thing, Zoom hearings?
Yes, actually, even though the pandemic is devastating in a lot of areas, it's actually opened the doors for a lot of good benefits. Zoom hearings is one of them. I do all of my evictions now by Zoom.
Okay.
And we actually get more defendants appear than we did when it was face-to-face.
All right.
So I think it's important for a defendant to appear so they can at least hear what's going on in their case. Always give everybody a chance to talk. Sometimes it doesn't help them, but I do at least give them that feeling that they've had their day in court.
Okay. This, of course, is a contested race. You do have an opponent in the primary, and the primary is coming up quick on Wednesday. So Tuesday. I'm sorry. Tuesday. Today's Wednesday.
Don't push it back another day.
Yeah. You don't want an extra day.
Right.
Okay, and we'll talk about your message to the voters when we come back. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw an issue out I'd like to talk about because I know you're going to get bored hearing people say, vote for me, vote for me. How many of you out here in Christova are happy with your internet access? One of the big projects is broadband internet. We can't stream this tonight because we don't have good internet at the VFW. So y'all remember that. We want to fix the broadband internet problem here in San Angelo. One of the things that's going to happen over the next 4 to 8 years is there's going to be a lot of money coming out of the Washington, D.C. area because we have Joe Biden paying for all this broadband internet. The governor's going to get $100 million to distribute amongst the 254 counties to fix broadband internet.
I can vouch for the fact that Joe has talked about broadband internet.
Is anyone going to ask about broadband internet?
Controlled burn could burn down broadband internet access. So, I'm just saying, I don't know, but.
Here's why broadband internet is important. You guys laugh at it, but it's important because there are people in San Angelo that work for Google. There are people who are working remote that have great jobs. They have, six-figure, $400,000 jobs. They say they're in San Angelo. That is an opportunity for us to attract good taxpayers into this town.
I view this maybe a little bit differently than some. Look at what China has done in the cyber domain. They have made a lot of gains, and all of their country is now achieving access to this high-speed broadband and the ability, to participate in this. So this is a national security issue. National security issue. National security issue. This is a national security issue.
When you get out in rural areas, when you're on the north side of San Angelo, these are the next Albert Einstein could be living on 45th Street with crappy internet right now.
Yeah.
We can maybe get, we can have infrastructure available that his parents can cheaply get internet access to that home, and he might be able to learn something really cool. We have Time Clock Plus. Everyone agrees that that's a success story, right? And that's been here for 20 years. Well, imagine a Time Clock Plus times 2 that was started here because we had really, really good broadband internet with that money, and you can do it. I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't set the table that eventually, within the next 10 years, 20 years, we could run a fiber link to every termination zone in the county, just like we do electricity.
Right.
because broadband internet is as important today as electricity was back in 1930.
A leader, veteran, conservative. Vote Joe Hyde for Tom Green County Judge.
We are back at the live desk on this Wednesday with Judge Susan Werner talking about her office and reelection. There's something unique about you that we haven't talked about, and that is you've done time in every JP office.
I actually have. I started in Judge Howard's office
Okay.
in 2006.
All right, there's one.
As a court clerk.
Okay.
Okay. And then I worked under Judge Fred Buck at Precinct 3.
Precinct 3.
And we were still in the old Chadburn building.
Okay, by the library.
By the other library, yes.
Right, okay.
And it was pretty tight quarters in there with 3 clerks. So when an opportunity came up for me to transfer over to Precinct 2, then I did, and I worked under retired Judge Russell Smith.
And that was
remained,
by the post office, is where that
yes.
office was.
Well, this was after they already moved to Knickerbocker.
They did move to
Yes.
Knickerbocker, okay. All right.
And so I remained there, and then Judge J.P. McGuire took office, so I worked under him for about, 6 years.
Okay.
And then that's about the time that I was appointed as Justice of the Peace in 2016.
In Precinct 1. So there's
Yes,
all 4 of the
I worked
offices.
in all 4
so
offices.
that gives you a unique perspective and certainly experience
Oh, definitely.
that very few folks have. We were talking about some of the duties of Justice of the Peace. Man, the legislature determines kind of what y'all do, and boy, they throw a lot at you.
Every 2 years, we get something new.
Those 140 days they meet every 2 years. Every elected official in Texas holds their breath because you never
Yes.
know what the legislature is going to do. You all do magistrate hearings. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. The judge that's on call is the one that will magistrate. And so every morning, we go to the jailhouse.
Okay.
And we meet with all the inmates that were arrested the day before.
Okay.
If you're arrested on a misdemeanor charge, you have to be magistrated within 24 hours.
All right.
If it's a felony, then we have 48 hours.
Okay.
That way everybody can get everything together before we actually magistrate them. Okay, so we read the booking report or any complaints that may be turned in. We review the situation.
Okay.
And then we talk to that inmate and talk about the charge that they've been charged with. And we set a bond based on the charge and any kind of safety to the public. We take all of that into consideration. And every charge, even though it's read the same, there are different circumstances. So that's why there could be some higher bonds for this person and lower bonds for this if they had the same charge.
Okay.
And so we also have the option to set any kind of reasonable bond conditions. For
Like-
instance, no contact with the victim if it's
Right.
an assault, or the interlock device if it's a DWI,
Okay.
third or more, or with a child, or the BAC is higher or equal to .015.
Okay. So there are all of those preliminary court proceedings that those folks who find themselves in the Tom Green County Jail, it's the Justice of the Peace courts, the JPs that go take care of that
Yes.
every day.
Technically, every case pretty much begins at the JP level.
Okay.
Even felony warrants, we have jurisdiction over that felony case until the DA picks it up
Okay.
or until they're indicted. So even though it's a felony and we don't hear felonies in hearings and things like that, or convict them, or take pleas, but we do have jurisdiction over that case until they're indicted and the DA picks it up.
Until the DA and the indictment. That's interesting. I did not know that. Also, we were talking about inquest. That's probably
The hardest part of the job.
could be, and we don't know what you do as a Justice of the Peace. Can you explain that process a
Sure.
bit?
Okay, so if someone passes away, and if it's an unexplained, unattended, and unattended It just means that they're not admitted into the hospital or a nursing home and has a doctor caring for them. So they may be taken to the emergency room
Okay.
and pass away while they're there. That's still considered unattended because an ER doctor hasn't admitted them and they're not under that doctor's care. So
Okay.
we still get called for those. And an unexplained means basically what it is. Unexplained, nobody knows what happened.
Right.
So we're called on that. And then unnatural, which could be a homicide or an accident or suicide. So we're called on all of those. And so we go and we work with our detectives, whether it's the Sheriff's Department, DPS, or PD. We work with them, and the first thing we do is rule out any kind of crime.
Okay.
So if a crime is suspected, it's a whole new level. It becomes a homicide. So at that point, that's when we'll order an autopsy. That way we have the evidence of how that person had passed. If it's a younger person and we're not quite sure what happened, then we can order an autopsy on that, or even a toxicology.
Okay.
And the JPs is the only ones that can order the autopsies, and then the county pays for them.
Okay.
Now, a family can come up and say, well, I'm just not sure I like what y'all have determined. I want an autopsy. Then
Okay.
they can actually do an autopsy, an independent autopsy, and we can assist them and help them kind of get that going.
Okay.
But it would be at their expense and not the county. Anything that is, there's not a crime, everything looks natural, then we'll go with that. I request medical records from their doctors to kind of get an idea, because without an autopsy, it's hard because
Yeah.
we're not a medical personnel, but then
Right.
again, goes back to the legislators, they give that to us to do. So it is our job. And once we determine the cause and the manner of their death, then we actually certify the death certificates.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason we're called for accidents and unexplained is because the doctors, physicians, even if they die in an ER, or I'm sorry, the ICU, if it's an accident, they still have to call us, even if they've been in the ICU for a couple of months.
Oh, wow.
They still call us because they can't certify that death certificate. Only the JPs can.
Only you can certify
Yes.
the death certificate.
Yes.
Well, that is a lot of work. It's a very detailed job.
It is very detailed.
And it's more than just sitting behind a desk with a gavel. And that it brings up the point, this is a job obviously you love and you want to keep doing.
Oh, I do. It's one of those jobs that it just seemed like I was just meant to be here. I started out in 2006 as a court clerk. I remained in the Justice of the Peace Office, and I continued studying, learning, the continued education that's required, and worked hard to get where I'm at. Unfortunately, the way I got here was I filled an unexpired term that was left by Judge K. Longest.
Right, right.
When she passed, they had to fill that position because there was still 2 years left.
Okay.
So we went, we opened it to the public for other people to apply. We went before the Commissioner's Court. I think there was like 6 of us. And we all had an opportunity to talk
Right.
and tell them why they should choose us. And it was a long process. I thought the day was never going to end. But they finally reconvened and picked me. And so I was sworn in that same day. And with my experience already working in the JP office and working under basically all of the judges that was active at that time too, I basically could hit the floor running.
Okay.
The only thing I didn't have experience with that is the inquest
Right. Okay.
and magistration. Of course, I had to kind of learn that.
Yeah.
So I just tagged along with them during those times and picked that up pretty quickly.
Okay. Very good. This is the point in time where I get to kind of back off and not ask any questions and let you talk directly to the voter and tell them why they should keep you in that office. And we we talked a little bit about, I mean, we talked about your qualifications, but you're also unique in that you're one of a handful of certified clerks who's also a justice of the peace in the state of Texas.
Yes, and
so-
that is something I'm very proud of. I wrote it down here so I could get the numbers just right. By being a justice of the peace court clerk, we had to go, well, it wasn't a requirement, but we went to school for education, which was necessary. And they created a test for us to take to become certified.
Okay.
And then in 2010, they created what they were calling the Master Clerk Test.
Okay.
It was the Master Court Clerk Certification. It's a hard test. No one likes to take it.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of panics, but it's an option. It's not a requirement, but it's a challenge.
Okay.
So in 2016, I think it was like March 2016, I decided it was time that I should try to take that test.
Okay.
So I took it when we went to school one year and signed up to take it, and I passed.
All right.
And to tell you how hard this test was, I'll give you some statistics, okay?
Yeah.
There is 4,131 court clerks in the state of Texas.
Okay.
239 clerks that are active today are master certified.
Okay. That's
Out of
very,
that
very
4,000.
few. Yeah.
Yes. I actually have, my chief clerk is one of those 239.
Okay.
Yes, Linda is a master certified clerk. There are 12 justice of the peace out of 835 in the state of Texas. That's a JP and a certified master court clerk.
Okay.
And I'm one of those 12.
You're one of the 12.
Yes.
That is amazing.
So
that
That
really
is quite,
is.
it's an accomplishment that I'm proud of. I didn't even realize the numbers of these were so low
Yeah.
until recently, and I was kind of impressed.
That's impressive. It really is. I'm impressed. And it's good for the county to have you and a clerk that's also certified in the same office.
Well, I can tell you, if anything happens and we do have to have my clerks out, I can manage the office on my own. I don't want to have to, but it is, I can.
But you can.
Yes, I know that office very well.
Very good. Very good. Okay, Susan Werner, you're on the ballot now. You have an opponent.
Yes.
There's voters out there who haven't voted. We know about 3,000 or so have countywide. So for the voters in Precinct 1, this is you to them, your message to the voters.
Okay. I am Susan Werner, am the Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1 in Tom Green County. I have been in the JP office. I'm going into my 14th year as from the court clerk transitioned over to the Justice of the Peace. I love my job. It's a position that is just one of those that fit. I don't even look at it as a job. It's just something that comes natural.
Okay.
And meeting more people and helping people has just been rewarding. I call it an emotional roller coaster, basically, because you have your inquest and you have those downs, and then you have families that come to you that need help with a loved one that may have a mental illness, and they don't know what to do.
Okay.
That's part of our job, too, is to help them with that person. And that can be rewarding to know that once you talk to these people and they feel that you understand and that they're not alone in this battle is one of those really rewarding feelings, you know. And I'm not the answer to their questions. And, you know, mental illness is a very tough situation, okay?
Yeah.
But back to my experience, I have 377 continued education hours through the Texas Justice Court Training Center. I have worked hard to get where I'm at now. I don't take it lightly. I research, I read, I ask questions. If something new arises that I'm not quite sure if that is a justice of the peace's job, or if I have the authority or don't have the authority, I will research it and find out. I don't just take for granted that I have any kind of power.
Right.
I've also served on the board of the Institute of Cognitive Development with the Family Shelter.
Okay.
And I've done that for, I think I'm in my almost 6th year. And I'm on the Planning and Networking Committee with MHMR.
Okay.
And I've done that just the same amount of time. And I'm also a board member of the Pachyderm Club.
Okay.
And that's really a fun club.
Great.
I have been endorsed by the San Angelo Police PAC
Right. Okay.
and the San Angelo Realtors Association
Okay.
in both 2018 and now in 2022. So I am very proud to have both of their endorsements
All right.
in both years. So I feel I have a lot of things to be proud of in my career. I've accomplished some good things. And I'm asking for Tom Green County Precinct 1 to please vote for me, keep me in office. I will continue working hard for you and serving you, and just need you to get out and vote.
There you go. Before we go, how can they find out more about you? Do you have a website, a Facebook?
I have a Facebook. It's Keep Judge Susan Werner.
Okay.
And then, of course, my personal page is open to anybody to see. I will talk to anybody that has any questions. My office is open to the public, of course, always, if they just want to come in. And I do want to clarify something really
Okay.
quick. With the Justice of the Peace, a lot of people think that we can give free legal advice.
Oh,
And then they get upset when we can't. We are not lawyers.
right.
And that's the one judges that is not a requirement to be a lawyer. And so giving legal advice is stepping over the boundaries for our position.
Okay.
Plus, another aspect of that is if you come in and you tell me your whole side of the story, and then you come in and file your suit in my court, I've already heard your side of the story.
Yeah.
So human nature, you already kind of tend to form an opinion. So then when you get into court and you've got that defendant in there, and then you've already heard the plaintiff's side, it's not fair.
Right.
I am a very fair judge.
Yeah.
I refuse to hear one side without the other party present. If I do hear more than I should, it's up to me to make the decision whether I can still make a fair judgment. If I feel I can't, I will get another judge to sit in.
Okay. Great. Well, this is an election. We've got 2 days left of early voting,
Yes.
plus what's left today, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. through Friday. And then we've got Election Day on Tuesday, 7 a.m.
Yes,
to
that's
7
gonna be a
p.m.
long day.
The primary election is going to be a long day and a long night. We're not sure about election returns, but we will be here. Live streaming election results as we get them, and all the local races, and hopefully we'll have some interviews with some folks along the way. So that programming will start about 7 o'clock on that Tuesday evening, March 1st. Until then, Susan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for stopping by.
Well, thank you for having me.
And on behalf of San Angelo Live, I'm Yantis Green.